Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on where is the AI in the P2P process. Today with me I have Simon Devine from Hopton Analytics and Mark Bradfield from Documation. We're going to talk about where the AI is within a process automation solution and where it can be used outside of it. Process automation solutions have been significantly enhanced by AI in recent years. Innovative technologies are being integrated across various stages of the P2P process to improve efficiency, accuracy and decision-making. It's important to understand that AI has been used in automation solutions for almost a decade now, but the advancements of the capability of the technology has further opened up opportunity for more intelligent automated processing. In the context of P2P, various types of AI can be leveraged to enhance efficiency, accuracy and overall process optimization. Here's an overview of the different types of AI and how they apply to the P2P automation. So thinking about the PO creation, the purchase request, how is the requisitioner helped by AI? Mark, I think if you start with that one.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Julia. So these are rule-based systems and they follow predefined rules and logic to automate repetitive tasks really and to streamline and get straight through process. So AI and machine learning can help auto-code your purchase requisition. So when you're raising a purchase requisition, the AI can look back at the categories of the type of order you're making, the user who's actually raising the order and the type of purchase you're making to then help you auto code or the purchase requisition. But it also can assist that, so it can give you options. So rather than fully auto code it can give you options. So as you're driving through the coding of your purchase requisition, the AI can present you options as to what to select, again based on your historic usage, the supplier type, what you're purchasing and so on. So all of that drives that auto coding. Of course, it's important to enforce policies when you're raising purchase requisitions, your purchasing policies and so on, and validating against budgets, validating against contracts and so on and so forth. And again, that can be driven by the type of supplier they are, the user that's raising the purchase requisition, whether or not a contract exists with that particular supplier and so on. So we're checking and enforcing that compliance piece, and we're cross-referencing all the business rules as we do that. And then to drive that, we have the approval of the purchase requisition, of course. So where and who does that need to go to get approved? So that might be to an individual, it might be to a team, the procurement team, for example, and so on. So we can drive that through AI to determine where it needs to go for approval, and also apply escalations. So if you're chasing an approval, the AI can do that automatically for you, so you're not having to monitor your requisitions. The escalation points will do that. And importantly, if you are looking at contracts and so on and so forth, that we have renewal dates and renewal alerts, notifying stakeholders of when contracts are coming up for renewal. So that's an opportunity to drive negotiations and so on. Okay, Simon, have you got any thoughts on that?
So everything you've said, I agree with completely, Mark. I think there's a few things it's probably worth for the wider audience to talk about, being what AI is, just super briefly. So to me, AI now, and for lots of reasons, right? Primarily because it's a bit of a buzzword, but it encompasses the technologies that you said we use all the time and have done for years, like machine learning, like pattern recognition. Now what we're seeing is the AI element starting to bring in the technologies of large language models, so we can talk to it to get some of these answers. But to come back on some of the points, because I think it's really, really interesting, is we can now start to use AI, algorithms, logic, machine learning, to look for demand forecasting or predicting trends, to forecast what we might need, to look at seasonal trends and market analysis, and do everything you said with that. Some of the things we can do. You mentioned intelligent decision making. Absolutely. Why not use this technology to help try and uncover some of these patterns and trends? These are things that add immediate value to a business, which is exactly what organizations like yours and mine look to do. And you mentioned contract revenue analysis as well. Do a lot of the heavy lifting And I think that's what we'll see it do even more as time goes on. But yeah, I agree with you completely, Mark.
So presumably, there is a role to play within the PR. Vendor selection also comes into play with a bit of AI. Mark, how does that work within the solution?
Well, from a solution perspective, vendor selection is what supply or vendor you select when you're raising that purchase requisition. So again, the AI can prompt you the appropriate supplier to select, again based on your user profile, the type of requisition you're raising, the type of category. So you're looking for stationery, for example, so it can go down and drill back and present you back a list of suitable vendors that are open, are valid vendors for the user to select. So it's not a comp branch selection of a vendor. It's driven by what you're looking to achieve.
Right.
And again, that can be based also on your previous actions and selections. So what vendors do I normally use for this type of category, and so on and so forth. So that's, in terms of the solution, the vendor selection is driven by AI in that way.
Yeah.
And anything else outside of that?
Simon, outside of that?
I fear that I'm just going to end up agreeing with you, Mark, but I think you mentioned a few points there about, or you talking around the subject, risk assessments. So okay, you could go and say these suppliers can provide these products or these services, but if they've got a history of late delivery, financial instability, then we can start to use the AI technology to exclude them as well. It is very much, and I know it's key to what you do and talk about and offer, but it is very much about that value add. And I think that's where this technology brings it, really enhances what we're trying to do day to day.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So order creation.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
So
order creation. We've raised a purchase requisition. Yeah, so we've raised a purchase requisition. It's gone for approval. It's now ready to be created and submitted to the supplier, of course, to get those goods. So we can use that AI again to auto route that and deliver that to the supplier in different ways. So maybe that a supplier has a particular way in which it needs to consume that purchase order. So does it need to be emailed? Does it need to go up to a portal? Does it need to be emailed back to the originator of the purchase requisition for them to forward it on to the appropriate person? So again, we can look at that and the trends and so on, and to drive how those orders are effectively and efficiently delivered to the suppliers. And then again, once those orders have been completed and you've got the goods, our solution can use AI to remind the purchase requisitioner to actually go in and receipt those goods, so they're not just sat in the warehouse or whatever. And if they haven't received them, maybe prompt them to chase up the supplier to find out where those goods are. So it's driving that technology so users themselves don't have to sit and wait for something or monitor a certain situation. It takes that away and effectively spoon feeds them a prompt to go and action something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it can be extended as well. So, and I'm confident we'll be talking about how we can use AI for reporting and analysis, but an extension of what you just said there, Mark. So we've submitted the order to the supplier and we're going to monitor and then send reminders for receipts. But that bit in the middle where we can be proactive to start to say, is there anything that could disrupt delivery? Is there anything that's going to see the product be late, be it what we've told or again what we know from the past from the supplier? This is where we can, and I think this is the other big benefit of AI in now and in the future, is we can start to use it to not just be fed, but to see things which are going to impact us and then take action. And that's actually exactly what you said. So yeah.
So going on from that, reporting based around that, the solution, I guess, has some reporting capabilities, Mark?
Yeah, well, this loops back a bit of what Simon said about looking at performance of suppliers and things of that nature, unexpected expenditure in a certain area, what are the processing times of documents from that particular supplier, so you can then analyze the cost of processing documents from that particular supplier. So maybe you identify a supplier doesn't quote a PO number all the time, and guess what, it's not going to match, so that's an overhead for you to deal with. So if you can analyze that, you can then go back to the supplier and address that issue, so they do start quoting a purchase order, for example. Or you can actually select another supplier who are better performing. So it gives you that strength and that knowledge to start making really valid decisions on how you go about working with your particular supplier base.
Yeah, and I think we're an analytics consultancy, so to be fair, I've got 10 minutes in without saying the words KPIs, which I think is pretty good. But we can start to use the technology that drives API to have more personalized dashboards to give the consumers of this information the key stats that they need, those KPIs, which, as you say, look at procurement, look at supplier analytics, look at performance, start to, as I said, proactively take the lead now, rather than the traditional supplier engagement, I ask and you give. We can then start to say, well, I ask, but I'll also be engaging with you to make sure we're getting the best service that we want, and it's what we want as the customer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we've talked quite a lot about the purchasing side of things, and we've got sort of the next 5 minutes to talk a bit more about the invoicing side of things, and then right at the end, payments. So there are multiple touch points from requisition right the way through to delivery. Invoice processing is part of the cycle. OCR we know has been around for years, but what else is new in this area?
It's within the invoice processing side of it. It's the process are absolutely riddled with AI. In a good way. That makes it sound mad, but it's in a really good way. So, capturing the documents and also automatically capturing data off the documents, invoices and purchase orders and so on and so forth, unstructured documents, through the use of freeform technologies, looking and analysing in the documents, learning from any user interaction a user has to make to correct an item in the system, can learn and to make sure that doesn't happen in the future, and using intelligent extraction engines, again, to analyze the whole page of a document to extract key data, looking, we know what the structure of a purchase order is, for example, so therefore we can identify that within the document, and be that in a structured location or embedded within the document itself. We can use the technology to analyze and credit statements, remittance, as they come through. We can capture them, extract the data, and obviously route them to the appropriate location to be processed. We can also route documents based on whether or not they're purchase order related or non-purchase order related, and apply the appropriate validations to that and route them. If it's a purchase order invoice, for example, we can apply the AI to apply 2 or 3-way matching and auto matching, and then if there's any exceptions to that, routing them for to be dealt with. So if they're not being receipted, for example, or if there's a price mismatch, we know where to route that within the business to be dealt with. And if it does match, we can flip the purchase order data onto the invoice to process that as well. Always applying different tolerances as well. When we're matching, we can apply different tolerances based on the supplier, based on the user doing it, based on the company or the legal entity of which it's being processed as well. So really driving down into that matching and applying some great rules to ensure accurate and efficient and hopefully successful first time matching as well, given that the user is going to receive the goods, of course. Yeah. And of course, within a no non-PO environment, it needs to be approved. So again, we can route that around, and those technologies I was talking about, auto coding and coding assisting during the purchase requisition, that technology can be applied to an invoice. So we can auto code an invoice. We can assist in the coding of the invoice if it can't be auto coded. So similar technologies, and the AI driving that as well. Fraud detection is really big. So again, looking at trends, identifying duplicates, non-compliant invoices, looking if there's any change in the supplier data, for example, bank details, address, and so on and so forth. So identifying that at source, so we're not having to deal with it later. But obviously we've got reporting to drive that as well, retrospectively. So, and again, once it's already, auto posting that to the ERP system without any manual intervention, based on the solution.
That utopia of touchless processing is just
absolutely straight-through processing is what it's all about.
And I think it's so you said earlier, and you were right, that OCR has been around for years and years, and it absolutely has. And I think sometimes we forget, especially in the work that we do, which includes all of this technology, which is almost no-brainer. Why would you not be doing this sort of thing that takes the manual work out of it? There are organizations with teams, offices full of people who are doing all these things manually. And I think sometimes we forget that this is there. And I think people who we work with, customers, clients, prospects, forget that actually it's within touching distance. It's already there, make use of it. And, I know we're running out of time, so I'll be quick. And in fairness, Mike, again, you've said all the things I just said. So fraud detection, that's where AI really starts to come in. Right at the start, I talked about machine learning and pattern recognition, and it can do this at a level that people either don't, because sometimes you just don't have the time, or can't, which is, again, why would you not? And it's that intelligent decision making that we talked about as well. So based upon logic that we can teach it, and then it working out what is reasonable and fair, we can start to give some of the, so this is a topic in and of itself, so I'll say it quickly and move on. Some of the control, some of the ability to make these logical based decisions away to AI to free us up to do better things.
Yeah. Well, we are really short of time, so I think we were going to touch on payments, but do you know what? I think we can actually move that to a whole new webinar all on its own, and just see whether or not now we've got any questions from the audience. Feel free to post them to LinkedIn if you have any. If you do that now, meanwhile, if Mark, you could sort of just give us a little wrap up of how you see AI in a process automation solution, and then after Simon, you do the same, and that will be, if any questions come through, we can answer them. And meanwhile,
no problem. So as I've outlined, AI and Simon as well, AI has been around for a long time in different guises. It's totally embedded within solutions, particularly the documentation solution, our AP automation solution, our full P2P, and so on. But it's continually driving innovation within the solutions, and we're coming up with new technologies, new techniques, new work practices all the time based on the application of these technologies, which is great. It's as Simon said, it's there. It's with us. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a buzzword. It is available to us now. Documentation would welcome the opportunity to discuss this further with some opportunities, determine how we can potentially help automate your operations and meet your strategic objectives around P2P or AP automation.
Yeah, and I suppose I really just mirror what you said. I think this technology is here and has been, in fairness, in part for a while, and it's organisations such as Documentation who really are at the leading edge of this, where we're using this tech already. What we do to support organisations like yourselves and others is take the tech that's there to start to offer insights which allow you to make decisions, right? That's the key for us. And AI is definitely going to help us do that. So it's exciting times.
It is very exciting. Thank you both very much indeed. If anybody has got any questions that they think about afterwards, please just let me know. I will send you all a message giving you contact details of Simon and Mark, should you want to get in contact with them. And just thank you all for joining, and it's been good to speak to both of you. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.